In this video, I'll be buying the glorious Model O wireless to as low as 57 grams and switch swapping it. I'll walk you through my process of mouse modding it, bring it in game, and give you my tips and tricks on how to do it the same way I did, and give you my recommendation whether or not you should do this. If you guys enjoy this type of content, leave a like, subscribe, and let me know whether or not you want to see more of these videos in the comments below. I'm totally up for more mouse mods just like this. Enjoy. Okay, so the first thing I want to cover is the mouse modding portion of this video. There are timestamps on the screen right now if you want to just go straight to the gameplay. But I highly advise you watch this section so you can get as much information about this mod as possible, and you can kind of see the steps I took to get my result. Alright, so the first thing I did was remove the stock feet. I'll be putting core pads on those later. I am a psychopath. I took them off my fingers. You should probably get some sort of prying tool or something like that to get them off yourself. After that, it was time to take the wow stick and unscrew the screws here. Whenever you take the bottom shell off of the Model O, be careful. There are two clips on the side of the mouse, and you might accidentally break them if you try to rip this thing off too hard. Just keep that in mind. Unplug everything off the PCB. One by one, unscrew all the parts. I'm not going to go into insane detail, but I will link videos down in the description below for you to go check those out after this video. I highly advise you watch them if you're thinking about modding it. Alright, now that I took this mouse apart, whether it be unscrewing or unclipping certain parts, it is now time to begin the weight reduction. Some of the easiest weight reduction is just removing the RGB panels, but then from here on, everything pretty much requires the wire cutter. Now, I did not clip off certain parts of the mouse at random. There actually is a pattern to what I clipped. For example, you see me taking off the support in the back of the mouse. The main reason why I chose this support, or the video I followed chose to clip this support, was that the back side of the Model O, or the back hump, kind of has a lot of support already, so it doesn't need that much. For example, the honeycomb shell kind of adds a lot of support to it. So here, there's a pretty good opportunity for shelling off weight without really sacrificing build quality. And that is a pretty general rule to follow in weight reduction. Find the parts of the mouse that don't really need to be there and don't really sacrifice build quality or overall just structural support. Now, before I talk about the bottom shell, let me talk about how this affects build quality. So weight reducing will decrease the build quality of a mouse, but if you weight reduce in a smart way or calculated way, the build quality really won't take a major hit and can still be playable as long as you're not putting heavy pressure on the mouse. It is just a sacrifice you have to take if you really want to have lighter weight. So of course, do this with caution and do understand that you could potentially break your mouse with this, especially if you're not careful in the weight reduction process. Now, for those of you who are really scared in the comments right now, like why are you taking so much off of the bottom shell? I wouldn't do that if I were you. Think about it. You put very little pressure on the bottom shell of the mouse, and it's very hard to get the actual bottom part of the mouse to flex or creak in game. So it is relatively safe to clip off some of the chunkier parts of the bottom shell, but you still want to leave some support there. Now, you should notice I am heavily avoiding modding any part of the front of the mouse. Whether it be the top or bottom shell, you really want to avoid taking off major chunks of the front of the mouse because you could actually severely affect the clicks of the mouse and introduce more post or pre-travel. So keep that in mind. The last thing I'm going to talk about before I talk about soldering is making sure there are still standoffs for the PCB of the mouse. If you accidentally make the PCB lower or higher than what it originally was, you could actually introduce sensor lag or LOD issues. Now, moving on to soldering, the first thing I soldered off was actually the DPI switch. That's this nice way to save like half a gram. The way I solder is I usually add some solder to the switch first, apply the heat, and try to suck up the solder and then try to wiggle it out. I'm very new to soldering and I use relatively cheaper tools, so this probably is not the most efficient way ever, but it's something you learn as you go. Soldering can be incredibly dangerous, so please be careful around the heat. Like, this stuff is almost 400 degrees Celsius, and make sure you take the battery off of the DPI area before you put any solder near there, because I can only imagine it's not a good mix. And make sure you do this in a well ventilated area because the fumes can be kind of toxic. For the main button switch is pretty much same deal here. It's just that now I actually had to install new switches instead of leaving it alone, and the switches I went with are Kill 8.0s, some of the more popular micro switches out there. After that, it was pretty much time to reassemble everything. One other mod that I could have possibly done to get this mouse even like 5 grams lighter was install a new battery. Just I didn't do that because I'm not really familiar with battery work, and I think it's a little complicated, and I did not want to wait for it to ship. Now let's weigh this thing out. So the first configuration you can do is without the back shell, so fingertip players or any psychopaths that don't mind the feeling of the internal scraping against your palm, this one's for you. And we actually got it down to 57 grams, which is a big step down, or actually step up, you could say, in the weight difference. So about 12 grams lighter. If you're like me and snap the shell back on, you can get this thing down to 62 grams, about 7 grams lighter. So yeah, that was it for the modding portion of this video. Please check out the videos down below if you're actually interested in doing this. Those are where I learned from and got this result. Now let's go into the gameplay where I can tell you my thoughts. Okay, here we are in Mineplex, and here's the mouse. We are going to try it out. This hand cam's a little different. Let me know what you think about it, but yeah, we're about to play with this mouse. No better way to try it out than to play some Bed Wars, so let's get into it. Do you guys hear the difference in the clicks? I can hear it a lot when I drag click. Like, you can definitely feel the difference from 20mm arm-ons. Just, it's not the biggest difference in the world, I'm just gonna be honest with you. At least in the Model O, I mean, not every switch is gonna feel the exact same in every mouse, so depending what mouse you put different switches in, it's going to feel different, kind of like keyboards. But yeah, the difference between 20mm arm-ons and KLA 8.0s in the Model O wireless is actually not that big. It's definitely noticeable, like I said, but yeah, not that big. But drag clicking though, it feels way different. Oh my god, dude, he almost caught that combo. Now, I would say the big difference, like the big difference feeling-wise between 20mm arm-ons and KLA 8.0s is that there's less vibration in the KLA 8.0s. The mouse switch feels more sturdy and there's less vibration, and does, unfortunately for Minecraft players, mean that there is going to be less double-clicking. There is still double-clicking, like watch me drag like 20-something CPS. But normally I would be dragging 30 if I was doing that on the Model O 20mm arm-ons. Dude, what are you doing? Now, of course, I am using 0 milliseconds debounce time, which does play a big factor in double clicking, but yeah, what are you doing? I missed the egg, but that dude did no damage to me. Yeah, I think his thorns actually did more damage to me than his actual sword. Why is everyone spectating me? What the f— But yeah, so yeah, that's the first difference I want to talk about. Switches, less vibration than KLA 8.0s. Overall makes the switch feel sturdier, but slightly less double clicking. Now, travel-wise, switch swapping actually does not affect travel, really. It's actually the design of the mouse that really affects that. That's why I didn't really touch up on the button area of the Model O wireless, because I did not want to accidentally mess up the travel or anything like that. So I kind of left the button area as low as much as possible in the weight reduction, so I can make sure nothing gets affected in a negative way. What are you? Also, talking about the QC side things, at least for buttons, my Model O never really had button squeak or anything like that, button wobble. My Model O wireless never had it, so I'm guessing I'm kind of lucky there. I guess it is a unit thing. It does vary per unit, so yeah, you gotta keep that in mind. If your Model O has like really any noticeable QC, button wobble, anything like that, I probably would not recommend you mod this thing, because weight reducing it would probably affect it even more. That's something you have to keep in mind. Weight reducing can mess up build quality, especially if you're somebody who has a tight grip on your mouse or puts a lot of pressure on your mouse. Build quality can be significantly impacted and overall just lead to a worse experience. My Model O luckily had a pretty good build quality, one of the better build qualities of Glorious mice. So I felt comfortable weight reducing. I really felt like build quality was not going to really suffer, and it didn't. Build quality on this is still satisfactory. Oh my god. A lot of people don't know, but the Model O wireless is actually designed to have better build quality than the wired. So this is a better option to weight reduce if you're going to pick between this and the wired. I'd probably go wireless because better build quality and less risk of accidentally ruining the mouse by weight reducing. So yeah, one thing to notice is that if your Model O wireless has build quality issues, probably avoid this mod. And a lot of people, you might actually be scared by looking at how I carved out the bottom of the mouse. Think about it, you rarely put any flex or pressure on the bottom of your mouse. So it's one of the safer areas to mod. Now, I only really carved out the back end of the mouse's honeycomb because again, I did not want to affect the front end where there is switches, and I did not want to affect clicks at all really. But also you do not want to carve out any parts of where the PCB like has standoffs almost, because you could affect liftoff distance with that. Now again, you could actually, if you do accidentally mess up liftoff distance, there is software to raise it, lower it, whatever you need. Obviously, the less precautions, or obviously the less steps you have to take to have a perfect mouse, the better. Do keep the standoffs on whenever you're modding this mouse, at least for the PCB standoffs. So yeah, touching up on the build quality after this mod, obviously it's going to get slightly worse, but it'll be fine as long as you're not smashing your mouse and you don't apply major pressure whenever you're gripping it. It should be fine. But of course, proceed with all caution. Make sure you're literally as careful as you can be, because one small little snip snap accident could literally ruin your whole mouse. Oh my god, I'm cracked. Let's go, KB Rod for the win. So yeah, touching on build quality, proceed at your own risk really. I will obviously link some videos down below that I found really helpful. Bearded Bob, shout out to him. He really did guide me throughout this whole thing just on his videos. But of course, proceed with caution, do everything at your own risk. Remember, really, this is your mouse. It really is up to you how far you want to go. Obviously, the more cautious you're going to be, the heavier the mouse is going to be. So keep that in mind. There is one mod I did not do from the Bearded Bob video, and that was weight reducing with the battery. Main reason because I did not want to wait to order the battery, and also I don't really know how to work with batteries like that, so. Why are they fighting me after I get strength? I don't know. Oh, that is not a good thing I dropped. Oh my god, that could have been bad real quick. But yeah, I mean, for people who are used to weight reducing, I would say the Model O is fairly easy to weight reduce and should overall be something that you could get done by yourself pretty good as long as you are experienced with weight reducing and have the right tools. The switch swapping, it's just like any other mouse, desolder, resolder, all that. The DPI button, it's similar, same process. Just make sure you take off the battery before you do it because you don't want to accidentally put that heat on the battery. I'm sure that is not a good thing to do. But yeah, the soldering, if you have experience, soldering weight reduction should be something fairly easy for this mod. If you're completely new to all of this, I would actually recommend you don't switch swap because that can actually be a really risky thing to do. And especially on an expensive mouse like the Model O, I really would not risk that hardware. Practice on something cheaper probably, or something you don't mind messing up. I just got destroyed, what was that? But yeah, if you're new to soldering, don't start with the Model O wireless. I would say practice on something with lesser value or something you don't really mind breaking first. But weight reducing though, for beginners, I would say it's medium difficulty. The Model O's internals are pretty easy to work with in my experience. So as long as you have a nice video to follow, the ones I'll link below, the weight reduction should be pretty easy to do. Just the soldering is something I would not recommend for beginners. Try that on their mice first. Yeah, I put core pads on it too. That actually did help out the glide a lot because stock feet on the Model O, they're not the best thing ever. They're like okay in my experience, just not in the same level as core pads. So yeah, that made it better. Can I tell the difference in the new weights, the 62 gram weight with the shell on? Honestly, yeah, I could tell the difference there. I think 7 grams. Well, actually it was 8 grams. My Model O wireless weighs 70 grams with the grip tape on it. Yeah, I could honestly tell the difference between the 8 grams. Is it a noticeable difference that is, oh, what the is it a noticeable difference that's gonna make me like way better in game? No, it's really not. But it's just a slight like, you know, quality of life thing that I found pretty helpful with this mouse. But yeah, gliding after the weight reduction and the feet got noticeably better. Is it the world of difference better? No, but noticeably better. It's just for those who really want that extra mile. Don't mind me, just the cleanup crew. Now, the Model O, I would say after these mods, probably is not gonna be a top tier, or at least like S tier mouse after this. I would say it definitely like helps it out a lot, and it honestly does make it a noticeably better mouse. But it's definitely not gonna be S tier after this. It's definitely not gonna be in the level of like the Superlight or Starlight. But if you already have the tools, I would say, yeah, do this on the Model O if you're experienced. If you're not experienced, proceed with caution. If you have absolutely none of these tools and you're about to spend like a big amount on this, just skip it, to be honest with you. Don't even, this mod is really only for those who, you know, are bored, have the tools already, and just wouldn't mind having a slightly better Model O. And really, if you're fine with spending that money, have nothing else to do, just want to at least learn a little bit about weight reduction, then sure, go ahead. But to the average person, I don't recommend you do this or spend the money on it. It is a noticeably better mod and relatively safe mod. I just think, you could do better with that money. Whatever you want to do with your money, to be honest. One thing I do want to talk about is that I do think mouse modding content would oh, my throat is dry. But yeah, following this mouse mod, asking the question, am I going to do more? Yeah, honestly, I do think I want to do more of these. I actually have a super big mouse mod that I'm not modding, but I'm receiving in the future. It's gonna be amazing. On the topic of mouse modding, go subscribe to Helix. He's posting a lot of banger mouse mods. Mouse modding definitely, I think, will stay on this channel for the time being. Obviously, it's not gonna be like every single video, but it's going to be a good amount of videos. Honestly, I found this to be really fun. I had, you know, the time obviously to do this, the resources and all that, so I thought it'd be worthwhile for me to try it out. You know, it doesn't hurt to learn new things, especially as a content creator. I want to really expand my skills and stuff, just to, you know, broaden my audience, give you guys more content, stuff like that. So yeah, that's one of the main reasons why I want to try mouse modding. And also, I wanted to see if this mod would actually be insane for the Model O. Spoiler, or not really spoiler because you just saw the video, this mod is not the craziest. I mean, obviously new switches replacing 20 mil arm runs was really nice because 20 mil arm runs are, you know, 20 mil arm runs. What is this player? I don't know what he's doing. The main benefit of this mod would be the switches, definitely. The weight also, not the craziest thing ever, but it's still noticeable. If I was a fingertip player, if fingertip players actually could get a big benefit with the weight reduction, just, I don't know. I don't really like the thought of, you know, only being able to do one different grip style. That doesn't sit right with me, so that's why I put the shell back on it. Also, I main claw, so it's not like I even used fingertip to begin with. He's probably got strength, but I have a sword, so let's go. Another thing I want to talk about, it's not really related to this mod, but I still think very important for this channel. I started a new group with 2 other poppin' YouTubers right now, Floways and Helix. I'll link both their channels in the description below, but we are called Lumen. And let me clear up some confusion about what Lumen even is, because I actually had a lot of people ask me like, what even is this? So think like the same, what the heck? So think of the same principles as FaZe Clan, a team pretty much. A team of content creators that collab a lot, work together, and are just overall part of the same group. Now, we also have a guild on Hypixel. Being in the guild does not mean you are a part of Lumen. It just means you are in the Lumen Hypixel guild. It's like a community thing that we host. Anyone who's asking how to join Lumen, guys, this is a pretty private thing right now. We don't have like sub requirements to actually join the YouTube group Lumen. Oh yeah, we are making a group channel, all that stuff. We're gonna make insane content. But yeah, I think I am going to wrap up the video there. Please leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you want more content like this, and yeah, Lumen to the top. Let's go.